It is legitimately 11 o'clock at night. My bangs look horrible, but I wanted to have a little something to post for tomorrow because I feel bad because I skipped a day and I don't want to skip another day. You're just gonna have to ignore what's happening right here. But I just wanted to do a quick little like what I'm currently reading. I don't know. I feel like if I put it out there, then it'll be like I'll kind of pressure myself a little bit more to actually read what I have sitting here. And I just cleared off a bunch of stuff from my bedside table today. It's been sitting there for a long time and I still haven't gotten to it. So I'll show you what I've narrowed it down to. Alright, at the top of the stack, I have a library loan that I just got out. Your Blood, My Bones. I mentioned it in another video. It's a new book, so I should only have 2 weeks on it, but then when I looked up on the website, I guess they scanned it wrong because I think I have 4 weeks. So I'm gonna run with that. From what I read, I think it's like a horror romance. It might just be straight horror though. It is young adult YA. Okay, well, the log line is a girl who will not love, a boy who cannot die, a twisted destiny neither can escape. From what I read so far, which is very minimal, like I just read a chapter or two. Really like the writing. It's like really rich writing and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've also have Great Folk Tales of Old Ireland. I thrifted this a while ago. It's kind of like a vintage book. It's 1972. If my Roman numeral knowledge is correct. I picked it up the other night because I just wanted to read one of the stories that are in here. The story of Deirdre, because in one of my books, one of the stories I'm writing, one of the novels, one of the characters are Deirdre. I think I want part of the story, not necessarily, it's not like word for word or like totally inspired, but there's like a place in the world that I want to be like a little inspired by Celtic history and mythology and things like that. And since the character's name is Deirdre, I don't know. It was mostly more because I was curious than for like the world building sake. Lately, I feel about Ireland how I think all of the girlies in like Super Hulock Tumblr era in 2012 felt about the English. Harry Styles, Tom Hiddleston, Benedict Cumberbatch, I don't know, whatever that little Anglophile era was. I feel like that about Ireland. I've just been really into Ireland. I'm indulging that. Anyway, so I just read one of the stories. I read the story of Deirdre one, which actually was the longest story in this particular collection. But then when I looked up about it, like I had just kind of questions about it and I wanted to see what other perspectives were. This seems like a pretty condensed version of the story, or not so much condensed as just it differs a little bit. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting. And after reading that, I was like, well, this is a really short collection. It's only like 112 pages. A lot of the stories are only a couple of pages, so it's like, well, I could just read one every night and be done in a week or two. I just read one of them last night. I read the first one, The Fate of the Children of Lear. Anyway, I liked it. It was a little bit tragic, but also a little bit beautiful. So, I like that. The next one I have, Good Omens, Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman is very well renowned for his writing, but then I guess some things have come out about him more recently or within this last year or whatever, and it's kind of like flavored some things poorly. Like I think the show, I've never seen the show. I've never seen Good Omens. Very well beloved show though. I've like seen some of like the fandom stuff online, but I believe the show is getting cut short kind of because of like things that came out about Neil Gaiman. But I've been reading this mostly, actually I've been listening to it on audiobook and then I kind of just like mark my spot on here. I did do like a little bit of tandem reading at one point, but I didn't really keep up with it. And I'm kind of thinking that if I do read the story, it might be better if I read it more strictly physically as opposed to the audiobook. When I listen to audiobooks, usually I'm multitasking, and this one is one that like really kind of demands my attention a little bit more. Like I feel like I miss a lot of stuff if I'm not really paying attention. I'm like, okay, who is this character we're talking about again? And it's obviously, it's kind of like, it's kind of humor, the genre, I would feel. is obviously it has the fantasy thing to it, but also it's just, I think it's a lot about the humor of it, and it has a definite quirk to it. Anyway, I feel like if I'm not paying like total attention, I'll miss a lot, and then it's like, okay, it's something that I have to really be paying attention to. I did find the kind of like tone of it, I liked it more at first. I think after a little while I was like, I don't know. I haven't picked it back up in a while, but it is on my list of books that I really wanted to finish before the end of the year, so we'll see if I push through and like actually finish it. I talked about this one in another video a couple days ago, Parable of the Sower. Again, not very far. I mentioned in that video that I really wanted to read it by the end of this year because I was under the impression that it was set in 2024. It turns out like just that is in 2024, and then this is 2025 or 2027. If I was really worried about, or not worried about, but wanting to read it like in a similar time as when it was set. I mean, this was written in the 90s. I actually have a few more years than I thought I did. And then the last one that I've left on my bedside table, The Wrath of the Triple Goddess. I was so excited for this to come out, and I had it pre-ordered. I was counting down the days for it to arrive, and then when it did arrive, I was like, yay! And then I didn't read it for a couple of days. Alright, I'm so embarrassed. My brother was listening to me. Yeah. So now I'm gonna whisper for the rest of the freaking video. But I was so excited to read Wrath of the Triple Goddess because when the Chalice of the Gods came out, I read that in 2 sittings. Really had a nice time with it. But this one, apparently that's how I get all of my freaking books. But I really want to finish this one by the end of the year just because I was so excited about it. We will see how many of these I actually finish before the end of the year. And I'll show you some of the books that I moved off of my nightside table. Alright, these two were not on my bedside table before, but they were just in my room that I had pulled this out. So I have The Vanished Library. As you can see, it's actually part of my used bookstore inventory, but I pulled it out because I was brainstorming a middle grade story I wanted to write, and it took some inspiration from the Library of Alexandria. Obviously, I have to read this. It's going into my stack of comps, which maybe I'll talk about those too. And then I walked in to see my dad watching a movie, and I was like, oh look, I have the graphic novelization of the book that this is based on. I got this, The Dark Tower, The Gunslinger Born, at a library sale. Like, look. So I'm not sure if I'm going to wait to read the books or if I'm just gonna read that. We'll see. I don't know, but I'm setting it aside for now. I've been meaning to really get into more mythology and folklore. So I pulled out all my books about mythology, and then I went on Reddit and I was looking up people's posts asking about where to start with Greek mythology. So I've got several Greek mythology collections. If I say these names wrong, please just ignore it. Sophocles, I don't know, to Oedipus. Oedipus plays an Antigone. If I'm saying it wrong, forgive me. Are, I think, recommended to like get in Greek mythology. So this is good. I also have Greek Tragedies Volume 3. Something I thrifted. I don't have the other volumes, but it has. I'm not going to be able to pronounce any of these. Alright, pretend you could read what that said. And then I have the big one. I have ourselves letters between mothers and daughters. This was one I actually wanted to read like a letter or two every night before bed, but I wanted to just do the Irish folklore first. And then I have cameras. Cameras in Narnia, How the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe Came to Life. All of the different behind-the-scenes things, be it costuming, or props, or the cinematography, the filming, the special effects. It's really fascinating. I think it probably came with like a box set for the movie, but I just found it on its own. It's fascinating to read just how much work goes into making movies like this and everything. I'm almost at the end of my stack and then I'm going to go to bed and stop whispering. Ghosts of St. Augustine. I was watching Garrett Watts' video when he and Andrew Zwicky, they went to Florida and they were going to the St. Augustine lighthouse. Anyway, I love the video, but in the video he had, at one point he was like doing a bunch of research. He had like his table was covered with just like, from what I recall, I think like printouts and books and all sorts of different things. And one of the books was this, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have that book. This is one I got from a library sale, or maybe Goodwill, I don't know, thrifted it. I just like getting stuff about ghosts. I have multiple collections of ghost stories. So yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, maybe I should read this. There were just other ones that I got to first. Finally, I'm going to expose myself. This is extra maybe embarrassing because this is not a purchase from when I was 13. I wanted to get this probably when I was like 13, but I didn't because I was embarrassed. So now that I'm older and should be way more embarrassed, I went ahead and got it when I saw it on a Goodwill shelf. So don't judge. But I love these guys. I still watch their videos. I'm not saying it's embarrassing to like them. It's just embarrassing that I still like the same things that I did when I was 13. Whatever, dog. Whatever. It is so aggressively like 2010s. It's crazy. I looked through half of it one day and then I just didn't get back to it. But Jessica's page and Becky's page. Lots of like graphic design stuff like this. Like their YouTube screen caps from when they first started and stories about college or university, the emoji interview. So, yeah, millennial core, but it's like, I don't know if you saw people talking about like millennial, kind of like, like the derpy kind of no hate to millennials. This is not like Gen Z attacking a millennial, because I feel like even though I'm definitely Gen Z, I feel a little bit like a zillennial. So this is no hate to millennials. But there was like a video of some girl and she had like the kind of like derpy millennial sort of humor about her. And millennials were like, no millennials actually act like this. I've never seen anyone act like this. And all of Gen Z is like, no, definitely, like, I can confirm millennials definitely act like this. And then people are like, the reason that this is being, like, this is a conversation topic is because millennials are probably right. It was millennials making content for Gen Z. Like this kind of thing, like just 2010s kind of YouTube. This kind of, like I said, like kind of derpy, whatever. I think you probably know what I'm talking about. So it was millennials with this kind of humor, but it was this kind of humor that was catered for the younger Gen Z generation. In a way, if anyone's going to make fun of it and making fun of a generation it ties to, people argue that it's more to be Gen Z is the one you should make fun of. Yep. The last video So if you want to watch ASMR, you just watch ASMR, and if you don't, then you don't. It's not like such a weird thing anymore like it was at one point when it was first becoming really popular on YouTube. My favorite ASMR channel is Chili Bee ASMR, and then also Hannah, who has the channel. She has another channel, Chill with